Welcome to Two Souls Podcast, a podcast to shift, impact, empower, and disrupt your consciousness, ultimately allowing you to thrive in this human experience. Now here are your hosts, Amber Meganhauser and Angela Blaha. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Angela, and Amber is here with me. How are you today, Amber?
Fantastic. How are you?
Great. So, what do we get to chat about today?
Today, I thought we'd talk about the difference between journeying and meditation. Like, how are they different, and what different things can they help you with?
So, they're not alike at all. Meditation is primarily used to relieve and release stress. And so, you settle the body. You can get, like journeying kinds of experiences from it. But the main purpose is to release the body, to like calm the nervous system, to go inward, right? To go inward and to like really sort of explore the self. Journeying, however, is purposeful, right? Like it has a specific purpose. Like you're journeying into other worlds, you're journeying into other realms, you're journeying to some place to either, retrieve something. Sometimes, if you're doing soul retrievals, you're journeying to where that soul exists, and then you're bringing it back, or you're journeying to, I don't know, the upper world, the middle world, the lower world. But it's very purposeful.
Yeah, they are definitely different. When I first took my class, the shaman class I'm working on, I actually thought it was going to be a lot like meditation. And I didn't realize till we did it the way we did that they're completely different, where meditation is all about yourself and learning how to listen to yourself and your own intuition. But when you journey, you meet so many different amazing beings that have more knowledge than you can even imagine.
Right. Journeying is, in my experience, when I've journeyed, it's always to, use a power animal to access something, or to meet, a teacher in the upper world, or to meet a teacher in the lower world, or, you're specifically going someplace in the energy fields or in the conscious fields to gain access, or to gain information, or to gain wisdom, or to gain power in some way, somehow. Meditation is really pulling yourself inward, understanding your own akashic field, your own energy field, how you work, or how you either flow or how you resist. Both are very, very useful in our expansion of consciousness. And it really kind of depends on what you're comfortable with. So a couple of differences. Meditation is either done in silence or with a guided meditation, or sometimes we use sound, but a good portion of the time it's silence, or walking in nature. You can do those kinds of things, but it's generally a really slow paced process, right? Like it's slow. Journeying, on the other hand, is done to drumming or bells, or some type of really quick rhythmic sound to get you into a place, to get you, so let's just say you're going to the lower world, and you have, for me, it was always, I slid down these roots of a tree into the lower world, and but it was always to a drum, like a really fairly rapid drum. And it gets you someplace. Like you literally visualize yourself going there. So I'm going to say journeying really works on your ability to see, your ability to know, like all your intuitive senses and your sixth sense, right? Meditation is more about the mind,
Yeah.
the body, the spirit, bringing them together and really becoming whole in that aspect. So that's been my experience. How about yours?
I completely agree. As they're like talking about it, just until I took that class, I didn't realize the difference. And that's like almost exactly what I did too when we journeyed to the lower world. I went through the tree and slid down the tree roots as well. And then when we journeyed to the upper world, I visualized the smoke, and the smoke took me up. And then when I came back, it also brought me back. Where with meditation, it is all about getting to know yourself, understanding, what's your intuition, what's your ego, what's your mind, and really listening to your own self, where journeying is the complete opposite. And it's getting to know everything outside of you and being open enough to listen to what's coming in for you.
Yeah, that's a good way to qualify it. Is meditation is an inside job, journeying is an outside job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't realize that, she actually said to us too, when we took that first class, that uh, do not try to practice this like as meditation. And that's what kind of threw me off, when I was like, well, aren't they kind of the same? But it is night and day difference. It's outside yourself, not within yourself.
Right.
So when you do journeying,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So when you do journeying, like, do we have multiple power animals? Like, I know we all have like multiple guides and stuff like that. But when I did this, I already knew what my power animal was, but I went in with a very open mind just to see if something different would come through. And my same power animal came to me. But then we also practiced, um, I don't really want to call it a dance. It was just like a movement, more or less. And you became another spirit animal, and this animal was totally different than the first time I journeyed. So I was like, do people have multiple different spirit animals? One of the things that did come in for me with this was the second time where I had the different animal. It actually told me it was a childhood spirit animal. So I was just kind of curious about that.
So yes and no. So primarily there's a power animal. Like it's the one that, if you need to call on something, you call on that original power animal. Now, there are multiple animals that we can use for different things, right? So if you're doing movement or dance or, exotic kind of movements for the body, there are some animals or some beings even that can come forward and help you in that experience. So I'm going to say that most of the time we have one singular main power animal, and then we use all these other beings and animals to help us with certain experiences or certain time frames, or certain places or certain realms, right? So in the upper realm, let me make sure I can actually talk about this. Yes. Okay. So in the upper realm, the very first time that I went, I met Merlin, Merlin the magician, and he was just like godly, and he pretty much showed me around the entire upper realm and the crystal palaces, and it's very crystally there. And then after that, it was someone else. I can't remember who it was, but I could see Merlin in the background. So yeah, we have multiple, I want to say multiple animals or multiple beings that help us uh, understand things differently or in a deeper perspective or in a whole different level of consciousness, right? So yes and no.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I get that second animal that came in for me. There was a lot that came up around it, and I could tell that it was just something that helped me on my journey. Which, like the first one that came in, that was like a mind blowing experience, and it is came to me multiple times after that. So I already know which one is my real power animal and which one's the helper. So I guess that really does clarify that a lot.
Yeah. I love the shamanic world. Like there's just always something there to access and to like learn about, right? Like no matter what our belief
Yes.
systems are in the shamanic world or in the shamanic practice, there's an upper level, there's an upper world, a middle world, and a lower world. And we go to the lower world for any kinds of humanistic kinds of things. Like death is explained there. Let's see, what did I I primarily have gone there for death issues, like understanding like the process of death or helping someone to move through their experience in death. Um, but there's lots of different compartments, I want to say, in the lower world. Lots of different. But they all have to deal with being human, the human experience, how to understand the human, like your human experience, like how to understand it in a deeper, more prophetic way. The upper world is primarily, in my experience, it's primarily where you go for etherical kinds of things, like, like who am I and what's my purpose here? Um, the angelic beings, the angelic realms sometimes exist there, but they also exist in the lower world. But there's profoundness, like extreme profoundness in the upper world. In the middle world, we go there
Yes.
that's where things are held for like trauma or, experiences in your Akashic field that you don't understand or that you can't remember or things though can harm you there. So you never really want to go to that world unprotected or by yourself. So that's the way that I understand, or that's my experience, and that's how I've been taught about the shamanic levels. How about you?
I have been taught the same thing. We did not travel to the middle world. So when you're saying to be protected, who do you take with you?
Well, you definitely want to take your strongest power animal, but you also want to take other beings. Like you only go to the middle world if you're doing soul retrievals or, well, this is my experience. Like I've only been to the middle world in soul retrievals. Like I don't go there otherwise. Just because it's too dangerous. Like, it literally is too dangerous. And I've had experiences of being like stung with some type of a flower there. Even though I was very well protected and I was retrieving a soul piece for someone, even though I had all the protection, I still got injured. And I could physically, like in my physical body, like my arm welted up where I got stung, and I was literally sick for 3 days. Like sick,
Wow.
vomiting, diarrhea, like it was, and you could see the physicalness of the poison that I was stung with. So, I mean, in the middle world, it's a creepy place. It's not, it's not harmful. Well, it is kind of harmful there. But, in trauma, right? Like things are created to protect us in the trauma. And poison flowers is
Yeah.
probably one of those brilliant things that we create in our mind, thinking that, I'm just going to poison my abuser, right? Like we conjure up these kinds of ideas and concepts. And of course, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we create that, right?
Yeah.
I only go to the middle world with extreme power. Like I myself has to be physically in my ultimate energy, and my power animals and the guides that I use for that middle world are extremely powerful. And I don't go there very often, not hardly at all, because of that, because it's just not a place to go. No, the upper world and the lower world, I
Yeah.
go frequently. And what I've noticed, or what I did notice, was after I did my shamanic teaching and practice that for, I don't know, lots of years. Anyway, then I became a meditation specialist, and then they sort of combined. Now I sort of separate them out because, before it was just practice. It was like, what can I do here? It was kind of like an experimental kind of thing. And they did sort of combine. But now it's like, no, I just need to relieve stress from the body. I need to, pull my energy in and really, meditate. I need to meditate. I need to pull it all in and meditate. If I'm going to journey, it's very specific now, and it's very intentional. And this is the reason I'm going. It's not just for fun anymore, because, before it was just fun exploring and seeing all the realms and, all the things. And now it's very intentional. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's how you learn.
It is fun. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you do have to experience everything to learn it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm totally at the fun stage still. I can't learn enough.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So shamanism and meditation or journeying and meditation are very, very different. Can they be combined? Well, yes, but you kind of, they each have purpose, right? Like that's the whole point about intuitiveness and learning and understanding who we are, and it's the purpose behind it. It's like, we talked a little bit today about rituals, and just ourselves personally, we talked about rituals, and both are very rehearsed in rituals.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, where you just get your own practice and find out what ritual works for you.
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. What other practices do you do that have this sort of kind of energy with it? Do you do other things that are like just doing intuitive readings has a whole separate purpose, right? Or exploring the Akashic field, doing Akashic record, like I'm a master in Akashic records. So that has a whole different experience, has a whole different ritual. And when I'm in the Akashic field, that's timelines, and it's past, present, and future. And it's the experience of that individual person. It has nothing to do with their traumas. Well, it does. It does. It has stuff to do with their traumas, and it has stuff to do with their, past lives and their future lives. So, we can combine all of these things, and we can, I think that's why I was on such a learning curve there for a really long time. Was I did all my shamanic journeying, all my shamanic teaching. I did meditation teaching. I did yoga. I did Akashic records. I did all the psychology that I could muster up. And now it's like I combine everything into what I offer today. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a learning journey. It's been a remembering journey. It's not really like any of it's new stuff. Like I bet you can say that too. You can't say that it's brand new stuff. It's all about remembering.
Yeah, completely about remembering.
Yeah.
You don't realize what you don't remember until it all starts to come back.
Right. That's the most annoying part of this experience for me, is the not remembering. Like, why did we create that?
Mine too. Like, oh my gosh, the remembering drives me crazy. That's one of my goals every day, is to remember something that I haven't remembered.
Right.
Because I want to remember it all. I want to you can't help it. After you start, you just like want it all.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's, we talk about power and being, empowered as a being, and these practices and these experiences, are just part of that. But when you can pull it all together, and I think that that's why we start on the journey in the first place, is there's this deep yearning that says you have to remember these things, pull back your power, right? Pull back not really pull back, but embody the remembering of it. Because when you can embody the remembering of your like these gifts and these abilities, life changes, right? Like, we have a whole different perspective. We we are very much more empowered beings, and we know our worth. Like, we know our, like, the purpose of why we're here, our mission as a soul being, becomes very clear.
It changes you too. Like, I had met a girl years and years ago. Probably it was probably like 10 years ago. And I hadn't seen her for like 10 years. And she said to me, I recently seen her, and she actually said to a mutual friend of ours that she goes, I did not even realize or know who Amber was. Like, I knew her. I had met her like 10 years ago. She said, but when I came out this year, I didn't even recognize her. Like, not the way she looked, but how her spirit was. She was such a different person that it blew my mind. So, and a lot of this has happened over the course of like the last 4 years. And I just can't even put into words like how amazing it feels to, I guess, know yourself, love yourself, understand like who you are, remember who you are, and be so strong with everything that you have that you just pour it into others without even realize you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's an empowerment, right, that comes that you cannot get from, I don't know, from a book, or from even travel, or from, like, I've never gotten the all the traveling experiences I've had, and all of the retreat travels that I've had. I can say I've had some tremendous, amazing numinous experiences on my travels. Can I say that they have been equally as in depth as learning to meditate, or learning to journey, or learning the Akashic field, or learning Reiki, or learning yoga? I don't think so. I mean, have they been profound experiences?
Yeah.
Yes. But the learning these tools is lifetime empowerment. And those experiences, those profound experiences were experiences, but there was work in embodying those experiences and fully understanding them. And I think that my tools, journeying, meditation, Reiki, have been the ones that helped the embodiment component. Without those, they would have just been off experiences. Probably more fearful than, they would have been more like, what the heck happened to me kind of experiences, versus this is a natural process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just it too. Like doing all the meditation and the different journeying, you understand that there's so much more to being a being. And it's, it's the most rewarding thing ever. And you don't look at it as like, oh my gosh, I had the most amazing experience. It's almost like it's just another piece of the puzzle to figure out the big picture.
Yeah, it's kind of a coming home the way that I experience it. It's like, oh, here I am finally. It's like a coming home. It's like bringing all the pieces
Yeah.
together, and you can like conquer the world when you have all the pieces together.
Yeah.
When the puzzle's complete, right?
Yeah,
when the puzzle's complete. Yeah, you have a choice then. You have a decision to make. You can either keep it together or you can destroy it and start all over. And that's kind of a metaphor for life, like, right? Like, okay, we're going to keep it together here for a while, and then we're going to live, right? Or we're going to destroy it, which could mean death, and then start all over, right? So, I mean, yeah, puzzles. Putting all the pieces together is like, it's very empowering. Very, very empowering.
It sure is.
So if anyone out there wants to have a deeper conversation about meditation, Reiki, journeying, shamanic journeying, Akashic records, like, reach out to Amber and I, because we are more than happy to teach you anything that you're ready to learn. Or remember, I should say.
Yes, we would. Yes, remembering is the key. Yeah. We would love to help any way that we can. Thank you all for joining us. It has been amazing having all of our listeners join in and be on this journey with us. We appreciate it. If you have any questions, any ideas, subjects you'd like us to discuss, please feel free to reach out to one of us. You can either email me, text Angela or I. Until next time, from our soul to yours, have a super fantastic day.